Please welcome Coralie Fargeat. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Good evening.
I love this movie. I want to ask you to talk a little bit about your path to it, though, before we get into specifics about the substance. This is only your second feature as a director. Your first, Revenge, played in Toronto and Sundance, was distributed by Neon. This was like 6-7 years ago. And there are some connective threads, right, between this. Is it coincidental? What are those? And is it just coincidental that there are these themes between that they share?
So it's not coincidental at all. I think in Revenge, I first started to express in a very intuitive way things that I were feeling about, the way as I feel being a woman, shapes my relationship to society in a very still unequal way in many ways. And it's something that I needed to release through the genre that I love the most, which is genre film, which allows myself to go very far without any limits and constraints the way I have in my real life. So I really found myself as a filmmaker in Revenge. And when the movie was released, it was coincidental with the Me Too and Weinstein story. And so I had, all the critics and the reception of the film calling the movie being feminist. And I think that's where I discovered that I was a feminist. I think I've always been, but I didn't know it.
And I'm sorry, no, please go on if you...
No, so it was for me a real revelation because I started to be able to put words on things that I think have lived with me my whole life about the way I was feeling about the world, And then I started to document myself much more about, other people writing about that and finding so many interesting and depressing things, about the way the world is still shaped in such an unequal way. And for the substance, I decided this time to make a movie in a very intentional way about everything, I had felt with that in a much more conscious way, and I even wanted to scream louder.
Yeah. So the thing about, I guess, both of them is also, and not just kind of feminist perspective, but that the way women's bodies are discussed are women are made to feel about their own bodies. All of these things. I mean, for people who haven't yet seen The Substance, essentially, Demi Moore is playing a actress slash personality who's, as she's gotten older in the business, has at one time having been huge, is now less desired by the industry, and wants and is open to doing anything, including taking this mysterious substance to try to correct that. And I wonder, though, this is, to me, not only like the way people talk about it, the first thing is, oh, it's a body horror movie, but to me it's also a great send up of Hollywood and the pressure that that people put on each other and on themselves to and things now, like, who knows what in 5 years we'll find out Ozempic causes somebody to pop out of your back or whatever. So I just wonder, had you, in going after Hollywood, what had been your experience, whether with Revenge or just generally navigating the business? What had you found Hollywood in your direct interactions with people in the business? You were encountering these kinds of attitudes?
So in fact, for me, Hollywood was unfortunately just a symbol of what's happening everywhere. I think this story is true in every country for every woman since the beginning of humanity. But as I write with symbolism, I make my film through symbolism. I don't write a lot of dialogue. I love to express myself in a visual and visceral way. I'm always looking for the heightened and strongest symbol that's going to represent the story and the idea I want to share. And I think the power, of Hollywood and through symbolism, when you think about the star, just the shape of the star on the Walk of Fame has a whole story inside of it. It's a whole story of how much through, cultural impregnation and diffusion, we have been fed with this idea that if you're beautiful, if you're thin, if you're smiling, then you can be on top. Then you can be under the spotlight and you're going to be famous, you're going to be loved, you're going to be happy. This is the dream, that I grew up with. And Hollywood is just, an incarnation of it. But in all the fairy tales, in all the mythology, we've been told that story. And so when I had this idea of, choosing who my character was going to be, I decided to make her an actress also because it was the heightened symbol of what is it to live through other people's eyes, to take your worth from the way people are going to look at you, are going to judge you. And when you please them, it's great. But when they look elsewhere, it's like if your, life was destroyed. And so the second heightened symbol, when I said, okay, so where this actress could be, then came the idea of Hollywood through that Walk of Fame, because even if you've never been to Hollywood, you have an idea of what it is. You have an image and you have the symbolic image that live, in the unconscious collective mind. That is the dream, that we are sold and that we would do so many crazy things to try and achieve. And, nowadays we have Ozempic, but in all history, it was different products, same story, unfortunately.
So is it purely a coincidence that the shrimp chomping and spitting asshole who uses and abuses the actress in this film, played by Dennis Quaid, is named Harvey?
Well, talking about symbolism, I think, unfortunately, this name became a symbolism in itself of all, the toxic behavior and the way, the world has been shaped and ruled by so much problematic behavior. And what is funny with that scene is that it was a scene I remember doing when I was editing and showing the movie to, very few people. It was a scene that made so many guys uncomfortable. Like they were like, oh no, come on with those shrimps. Tone down the shrimps, please. The shrimps are really too much. And I was really shocked because from all the gory, violent, bloody stuff that I thought would disturb people, if I had thought that the shrimps would be the thing, that I would have been asked to tone down, like I couldn't haven't imagined. And what I learned on my first feature is when there is a scene that makes people very uncomfortable and that make everyone uncomfortable is most of the time because there is something very powerful in that scene. And so I stick to my shrimps and I'm very happy I did.
It's a shame we can no longer just associate the name with a giant rabbit. Harvey was anyway. Now, Demi Moore, I wonder. You two have teamed up to do something so special here. You've both come out of this experience with, I think, just a whole different array of acclaim and opportunities. And I just wonder, though, I could see that conversation with any actress to cast that part of Elizabeth Sparkle as being, sensitive. You're saying, like, to play this aging actress who has to do as a performer playing her all kinds of daring things. How did you present the idea, and why do you think she was so willing to go there with you?
So this casting process was a real tough challenge because, as you said, it was really confronting an actress to probably her worst fear, and I think a movie is really when a director and a script meet an actor that is ready at the same time to tell the same story. And I totally understand that everyone is not ready for himself or herself to tell that story at certain point of his life. So I got many no's, for the part. And when we finally sent the script to Demi, at first I said, it's a great idea, but I think she will never want, to do something like that. I had this image of her hyper in control of her image, and not willing at all to go into those territories. But I said, let's try. We have nothing to lose. Just let's not wait too long for an answer. And it turned out that she clicked instantly on the script. She really understood it. And I think it resonated for her at a time of her life where she wanted to get the narrative of her own life and her own career back, not into other people's eyes, but for herself. And I think that what made her understand the potential of the film, the potential of the storytelling, and to let herself drive into this whole new territory of genre film, which requests a lot of technical challenges as well, which is what I discussed with her from the very start, because I wanted her to have all the cards, on the table to know what she was stepping into. So I discussed with her about everything, like, all the genre elements, the fact that it's very challenging, it takes a lot of time on set, the prosthetics that sometimes we needed to shoot not at all in the chronological order, the nudity aspect, of course, because the nudity is a real tool in the film. Each shot has a meaning and is there for a reason. And also the way we were going to shoot the film, because it was such an ambitious project with still quite a limited budget for everything we had to do. So the only way to achieve that and to make the movie possible was to shoot it in a very indie way. So, I designed the shooting in a very limited crew. We were shooting in France for more than 100 days. So it was a very challenging, not with the whole Hollywood, super production that she had been used to in the film that she was making. So it was very important for me to share all this, so there is no surprises, no bad surprise, and we all jump into the same boat. And I think that's what really bonded, the fact that we were making the film for the same reasons. And I think we were both ready at the same time to tell that story. And I think, also there is something that speaks through you with a film. And I think, yes, that's what happened for both of us on this project.
That's great. And for this very kind of humble production became a blockbuster around the world. It's really been so cool to see, and congratulations to you on all the recognition. And I look forward. We're going to continue this with the group in a moment. But first, let's welcome a clip. Let's introduce a clip of our fifth honoree. He is an American who was nominated for the Best Directors Guild Award and is nominated for the Best Director Academy Award. Let's take a look at a scene from A Complete Unknown directed by James Mangold. Thank you.